On a quiet morning in March 1945, a single American bomber flew low over the Pacific Ocean, carrying a weapon no one on board fully understood, and a future the world would never escape. The aircraft was a B-29 superfortress named Enola Gay. Painted silver, massive and elegant, it looked like just another war machine among thousands. But this plane, and the chain of decisions that led to its flight, would alter history more deeply than any battle before it. This is a true story of secrecy, fear, scientific brilliance, moral doubt, and the moment the United States crossed into the atomic age. In the early 1930s, long before America entered World War II, physicists in Europe began uncovering a terrifying possibility. The atom could be split. When German scientists Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann discovered nuclear fission in 1938, they unintentionally opened the door to a weapon of unimaginable power. Word spread quickly among the global scientific community. Some were thrilled by the intellectual breakthrough. Others were horrified. One of those scientists was Albert Einstein. Einstein, a pacifist by nature, feared that Nazi Germany might turn this discovery into a bomb capable of ending civilization. In August 1939, he signed a letter written by physicist Leo Szilard, addressed to President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The letter warned that Germany could develop an atomic weapon and urged the United States to act first. Roosevelt read the letter and reportedly said, "This requires action." That sentence quietly launched one of the most secret and expensive projects in human history, the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was not based in Manhattan. It was spread across the United States, in Los Alamos, New Mexico, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Hanford, Washington, and dozens of other hidden facilities. At its peak, more than 130,000 people worked on it, most without knowing what they were building. Entire towns appeared almost overnight. Los Alamos did not exist on most maps. Workers' mail was censored. Scientists used fake names. Even Vice President Harry Truman knew nothing about the project until he became president in April 1945, after Roosevelt's sudden death. At Los Alamos, some of the greatest minds of the 20th century were gathered under military command. J. Robert Oppenheimer, Enrico Fermi, Richard Feynman, Niels Bohr. They were racing against time, driven by fear that Germany might succeed first. Ironically, by the time the bomb was nearing completion, Germany had already surrendered. Hitler was dead. The original justification for the bomb was gone. But the project did not stop. By the summer of 1945, the war in the Pacific was raging. Japan, though clearly losing, refused to surrender. The United States had already endured Pearl Harbor, brutal island battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and horrific casualty numbers. Military planners estimated that a full invasion of Japan could cost hundreds of thousands of American lives, perhaps more. President Truman now faced an impossible decision: use the atomic bomb and force a surrender, or invade and watch the death toll rise beyond anything America had ever seen. On July 16, 1945, in the New Mexico desert, the world's first nuclear weapon was tested. The explosion lit up the sky like a second sun. Scientists watched in stunned silence. Some cheered, others wept. Oppenheimer later recalled a line from the Hindu scripture, Bhagavad Gita: "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." 3 weeks later, on August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay took off from Tinian Island. The crew was calm. They had been told they were carrying a powerful new bomb, but few grasped its full implications. At 8:15 a.m. local time, the bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, was released over Hiroshima. 43 seconds later, the city ceased to exist.
A blinding flash, a fireball hotter than the surface of the sun. Buildings collapsed instantly. Shadows of people were burned into walls. An estimated 70,000 people died in the first moments alone. Tens of thousands more would die from radiation sickness in the months and years that followed. President Truman addressed the nation later that day, calling it the greatest achievement of organized science in history. But Japan still did not surrender. 3 days later, a second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender in a radio broadcast, the first time his people had ever heard his voice. World War II was over. The United States had won, but the victory came with a shadow that would stretch across generations. In the years that followed, many Manhattan Project scientists were haunted by what they had created. Some campaigned against nuclear weapons, others justified their work as necessary to end the war. The moral debate never ended. The bomb also transformed America's role in the world. The United States emerged as a superpower, but also as the first nation to wield nuclear destruction. The Cold War soon followed. The Soviet Union built its own bomb, then hydrogen bombs, then missiles. By the 1960s, the world lived under the constant threat of annihilation. And it all traced back to that quiet morning in March 1940.